Dodge, Yahoo, Phantom of the Forest, you Spear, Finger, Fire Dragon, Ohio Grassman, Silver Giant, Bloodless Howler, West Virginia Vampire, Coyote King, Hogzilla, Devil, Dark Coyote Killer. Cave creature, Mothman, Smoke Wolf, a Lizard Demon, Ashman, Grafton Monster, Cow-killing Bastard, Shadow Creature, Dustman, Cherokee Devil, Cat, Wild Man, Great Fire Rape. What else do I have to say? Steal yourself some chicken wire, and I'll get some lumber. Catch the Thunder Brothers. Don't you dare get out of the golf cart. We can keep our big seats while we hunt the Bigfeets. Snallygaster, Road Team, Red Island Bear Beast, Silver Giant, Squalling Savage, Black Wolf was kind of average, Stone Giant, Raven, Mocker, Midnight Whistler, Wampus Beast, Wawa Woman, Ohio Grassman again. Technically Huckleberry, Wolfman, or Wolf County need to find the X again if we hunt the Lightning Man. Webster's Werewolf, Daily Howl, Kentucky Hellhound, Little Girl, Headless Horror, I can't take it anymore. Steal yourself some chicken wire, and I'll get some lumber. Catch the Thunder Brothers. Don't you dare get out of the golf cart. We can keep our big seats while we hunt the Bigfeet.
This here's BIGFEETS, the only source for filthy celebrity nudes. And by celebrity, I mean Huckleberry, and by filthy nudes, I mean literally. I'm Robert Brockway, I'm Psychic Bigfoot Sidepiece.
I'm Sean Baby, and at the age of 16, my Shidoshi Tanaka brought me to the legendary ninja land of Masuda, where my outstanding abilities shocked and pleased the ninja community, and I earned the right to call myself Ninja.
And I am New York Times bestselling author Jason Pargin.
I like that it pleased them. That's my favorite part of that Frank Dukes quote, is that they were just, you know what, I like that. I like that guy.
Really enjoying this ninja boy.
They didn't love it. They didn't go nuts for it. They were just like, go work. Go work. Before we get started on what is going to be a 43-hour podcast, for sure, what can we plug? How about you, Jason?
The book that is coming out just weeks from whenever you listen to this, probably about a month after you hear it, although if you're listening to it in the future, the book probably already exists. It is called I'm Starting to Worry About This Black Box of Doom. It is a standalone novel that does not require any knowledge of anything else I've ever written or said or anything that happens in this podcast. It is its own thing. It is up for pre-order wherever you possibly get books in every possible format, including audio. No, I do not read the audiobook.
How about you, Sean? What would you like to plug today?
I would love to plug the hit comedy website 1-900hotdog.com. It's started by myself and you, if you recall, 4 years ago, Leap Day 2020. Now we have an all-star cast of writers doing daily jokes about cursed objects from the wrong dimension. Just like the golden age of the internet. People love it.
I can't.
Go to our Patreon, patreon.com/1-900hotdog.
4 years. It's been 4 years.
Crazy that this has outlasted like 96% of the publications that have ever been started online.
I know.
Just by making it, it's 4.5 years. They're coming up on 5.
Yeah. I was just going to say, like a 5-year anniversary, there are a lot of websites, even in Prime Internet, that did not make the 5-year mark. And we have buried them all.
The Confederacy did not last this long.
That's my benchmark. Like how they use Huckleberry to measure every Bigfoot. I measure the Confederacy is my measure of time. Oh, shit. I would like to plug Dogzone 9000. That's our other podcast where we find cursed media or just, honestly, whatever we fucking want to do. I have no idea. I think we're far enough ahead that we are ahead of the Dogzone. But the last one we recorded was about a movie called Bangkok Knockout, which was incredible. It was one of the greatest movies I have ever seen, and simultaneously the worst movie I have ever seen, hands down. I don't think it's technically a movie. It is definitely a mass obituary for Thai stuntmen. It was a lot of fun. Have you seen that movie, Jason?
No.
Oh, it's a movie written, performed, and envisioned by stunt people. And that's just the whole movie. It's just a reason to throw them off the top of roofs. One of the guys fights with a car. 3 of the guys fight with motorcycles. Like, that's their kung fu style. I'm in an armored car. There's a Jason Voorhees.
He's got the mask, he's got an axe, and he's unkillable by human damage, and like it's every idea a stuntman's ever had, like filtered through what they have seen of movies, like back there while they're wounded, being carried away on a stretcher. They're like, I think I got the gist of this movie thing.
It's so
that was a blast. We recorded that with Rusty Shackles. It might be new to you. Go to listen to that. Go listen to the Dog Zone 9000. That's not what we're doing today. What we're doing today is a Mountain Monsters watch-along. Mountain Monsters is kind of a hillbilly reality show, only not really. We are increasingly losing reality as we go here, and it's wonderful. I can't wait for them to abandon it entirely, and they will. We're watching Trapper. We're watching Trapper. He is our leader. We're watching Huckleberry, who is Bigfoot security. We've got Buck, who is featuring prominently in what we're about to talk about. He's really coming into his own here. He's a collar, a husky ninja, often Bigfoot bait, as we will find out. Jeff is our hillbilly research scientist. Willie is the actual trapper, and Wild Bill is a fucking lunatic. God bless him. We are watching Mountain Monsters Season 2, Episode 7, Bigfoot of Ashe County. There's a second colon to this one. Ames Under Attack. That's right, it's the first of a 2-part episode, and it's incredible. I can't wait to get into it.
Important context that is not going to be clear because the upload of this show to the streaming world is a total mess. This originally was the first part of a 2-part season finale for season 3. So this episode and the next one, they're hunting the same creature in 2 different episodes. These actually aired in April of 2015. The next episode was not until January of 2016, 8 months later. Now, on streaming, this is just dumped in the middle of what they're calling Season 2. But that's important because this was a 2-part season finale spectacular, which is going to become very clear very fast.
God, can you imagine? Like, there's kids today that were born before we discovered psychic Bigfoot. Like,
yeah, because this is... For further context, this is the first episode we did on the Dog Zone. This was our entryway into it, and what an incredible point. I will argue there is no better entry point than this. We stabbed at it at random and hit right as it fucking really jumps off. Like, what happened before this was fun, it was crazy, and then this episode... Now having the context of having watched all of it, because we watched it the first time, no context. This time, knowing how it is built up, you see how big the gap is based on what they have done so far to what they are doing now, and it's so shocking. It's so much more shocking than when the first time we watched it. I love
Frankly,
it. I love it.
Should have started the podcast here. Everything prior to this was just a huge waste of time, and I do apologize to the listeners. And if you have popped into this BIGFEETS podcast with this episode, normally we tell you have to go back and watch it and listen to it from the start. Frankly, it's fine. This episode will bowl you over. I'm going to spend a lot of time trying to figure out what's different in this episode because it feels very different from what came before. And it's very interesting to me because it is clear that this show hit a crisis point with the infamous Bigfoot of Clay County is addicted to Golden Delicious Apples episode. And that there were meetings held after that saying, we need to talk about danger. We need to talk about stakes. We need to talk about why we're justified in capturing, torturing, and murdering these creatures. And from that point on, starting with the episode last time, where you started to get into Bigfoot has drawn a map in his cave and has human level intelligence and knows fire. That was where they started. It's like, okay, we need to try harder. And then we got this. Jesus Christ.
This Bigfoot kills people. This Bigfoot takes over minds.
They establish it. I mean, we'll get to it, but they do. They establish it early. They're like, hey, wait a minute. We're just making all this up. We can take the brakes off. I don't know. Why are we holding back on all of this? If it's all fake anyway, why not fucking mind control? Why not Bigfoot psychic harems? Why not proclaim real people have been killed by Bigfoot and we're here to avenge them? It's it's like they just really realized the potential of make-believe in general for the first time. Like, we could just say whatever, and then somebody else is like, no, surely we can't. And then they had a long meeting where like, I think we could make up whatever we want.
We're going to talk about this because we had speculated that there may be legal restrictions as to what they could make up. It turns out no, it was all just limited to the power of their imaginations.
Okay, so getting into the episode, first thing we do is look up whether or not this is a real creature. This is, and it's not only real, it's probably the most folklore they've had to base off of. It is a real Cherokee myth. It's got extensive folklore around it. It's appeared elsewhere in pop culture. I didn't see anything about its pedophilia.
We'll get into that.
We'll get into that.
The mind control and the pedophilia is what they added to spice things up, which really any plot. those are two elements you can just throw in.
You gotta add
These men are libertarians and they love the X-Men.
Oh shit! All right, they're going to hunt the Cherokee Devil, also called Sul-Kalu, in Ashe County, North Carolina. Standard measurements. He's a shack and a half. He's 8.5, 10 feet tall, well over 800 pounds. Now, there's something familiar about the CGI model of this Bigfoot. He has the thick thighs of a huckleberry.
This is a huckleberry with a chimpanzee mouth and red eyes. It's just... It's nothing other than huckleberry.
It has a long gray, listeners, this rendering of this Bigfoot has a long gray prospector beard, long gray hair. They did a foreshadowing with their little CGI rendering.
Probably on accident.
Yeah, maybe. You're right. I want to credit that with them learning, but I have no precedent for that.
Also, because when we found out that this is a real creature, which people listening for the first time, lots of times they will just pull one out of their ass, like there's no existing folklore. I actually was watching this episode, and they said, well, he's called Sul-Kalu. That's a Cherokee name that means slant-eyed giant. And I slammed on the pause button and rapidly started Googling to make sure it's like, oh, no. They didn't make that up, and it's not. That is what it means.
Yeah. They maybe shouldn't have said it. Like if I was hunting a monster whose third most popular name translated to a racial slur, what I would do is I'd just stop giving the fun facts before I got to the racial slur.
It's inadvertent. It was an accidental one invented before they knew of that race's existence.
Sure.
But I do want to say, I feel like maybe Huckleberry got a secret thrill from saying it. I feel like there was like a little titter in his voice when he was like, Sul-Kalu. Am I allowed to say that?
Isn't it fun to talk like this?
So I want to say that's actually, I think that's them learning. I think they got one of Jason Pargin's producer notes from Out of Time when we said it's hilarious that when you went to, because the last time they went to talk about the Bigfoot's name in, I think it was Iroquois. I don't fully remember, but they were like, and that's Bigfoot in Iroquois, and we all laughed because why would his name be the literal translation of Bigfoot? I think they got that note and it really hurt, and they were just like, okay, we'll use the real one. Maybe they shouldn't have, but I think we'll credit them with trying to learn. Also, if just for regular listeners, if you, like several people, are wondering why in the lyrics to our song, Technically Huckleberry, this is why. This is coming up. This is why Technically Huckleberry is in the theme song. Just to get you pumped for that reveal. So Jeff says it was first spotted in the 1600s, and according to folklore, he was a supreme hunter. They'd go out to hunt and not spot any game anywhere, and they'd say the Sul-Kalu had been there and just eaten absolutely everything. And then Buck does the most audacious fucking thing. He leans forward in the truck, actually leans forward like an excited dog, and goes, having Cherokee heritage, I do a lot of studying on this Cherokee folklore. Just absolutely rendering Jeff invalid. His whole personality invalid. And he goes on to say the Sul-Kalu actually married a little Cherokee girl, and there was a huge squabble about it between him and the Cherokee, who I guess didn't like Bigfoot marrying their children.
So the actual legend, the Sulu legend, is that a woman, a fully grown woman, that there was like this little parable of that her mother was like, well, don't marry a man unless he's a good hunter. And then this thing came along and was like a good hunter, and then they didn't approve of her marrying him. Nowhere in the original legend is the bride a child. For some reason, Buck says a little Cherokee girl, and because of the way they do improv in this show, it's now canon. This is the Bigfoot is marrying a child, and keeps emphasizing, like, seems to become like a toddler as the show goes on. And that is, I can't find anywhere in the folklore where they are referencing it being a child bride.
This whole thing is so off the rails because Trapper starts by talking about the Sulcaloo's Cherokee heritage. So he's already doing a Jeff. And then Jeff chimes in within the 1600s. And now here comes Buck yes-anding that with more backstory about the child bride. I think this is too many Jeffs. And you see how, I don't know. I guess the thing I had a biggest problem with is because of, Buck's Cherokee heritage is what? 1.7% Cherokee. So that amount of DNA means he was trusted with the sacred tales of the Bigfoot libertarian marriage. And so that's, weird and troubling. And this is why you should only have one guy as like the backstory guy, I think is the lesson we can take. I
can't believe there's not been conversations in between episodes because there's nothing else for Jeff to do. Buck has other stuff he can do. I'm going to give everybody a spoiler for future Mountain Monster seasons. Like after Trapper passes away, the real life guy, not the character, Buck becomes the new Trapper. Buck becomes the team leader after, like, they're all, you can see them doing it. Like, you can see them, like, elevating him. They're elevating him to be, like, this leadership role, and he'll, like, head the second team when they do their pincer movement. So everybody else has got something else they can do. Jeff was supposed to be the library research exposition guy, and they have completely... He will like insert in a little factoid or something, but it's often the least relevant fact. Like last time he knew that Washington County was, he went to the Wikipedia page for George Washington to explain who George Washington was.
And then he was much beloved.
Yeah.
Because they had taken everything else in the briefing. So like that doesn't come up during their hunt. It wasn't like, 5 minutes left in the episode. They had to summon the spirit of our first president to save their lives. It didn't impact anything. So them minimizing his role, like he should have gone to them and said, okay, well, can I help with the traps? Can I be the gun guy? Like otherwise he does hold the infrared camera, but that doesn't require expertise. He doesn't know how to use it. He routinely cannot see things until they're visible with the naked eye anyway.
That's not true. He has a use, and I think it's growing. It's one of those things that is being foreshadowed, that they're slowly growing, just like they were growing Buck's like slow roll into leadership. He's the coward. He pisses himself, and as we will eventually find out, he shrieks like a little girl and falls down when he is stunned, like a fainting goat. You need a coward to sell steaks, man. This is scary. You need him. You need a Shaggy. He's going to be Shaggy. Oh. So we've got a pedophile Bigfoot. There's no other way to say this thing.
It's so weird. I mean, I'm not a Cherokee like Buck. My parents have never stopped a scary story to say, also, Dracula had sex with a tiny boy. No, listen. This part's important. Dracula married an Algerian human boy.
But also because the next sentence that's going to be said in this truck is Jeff's going to throw in, oh, and also he can read your thoughts, which is not part of the folklore. But please, a mind-controlling pedophile Bigfoot is the most terrifying thing ever invented in fiction.
I'll give them that.
That sounds like a liberal grade school teacher.
It's just good God. I can't believe it's gone off the rails this far into the episode, which, let me check, it's 2 sentences. It's like barely, like the credits music is still soft fading out over the lyrics, and they're like, pedophile, Bigfoot, mind control. Like, fuck it, what? I have no grounding for this. We can't go this hard, this fast. It's such a jump. This is what we mean. It's such a jump from everything that came before.
And what's so funny about it is, you know how everyone's always like so supportive about backstory? Like when he's like, ooh, Nassau County was named after Jeff Nassau. They're like, wow, that's real fascinating.
Really good job.
But when Buck tells him about the child bride, it gets real quiet in the truck.
Yeah, they all really consider the implications of it.
Yeah.
But we covered this when we first went through this episode. He really forces the improv here. Every time it seems like we're steering away from Bigfoot having a child bride, he's like, hey, you guys remember the child bride? They're like,
I do feel like Buck got that it wasn't vibing with him, because he, like, when everyone's real silent, he's like, oh, also it cleaned out all the game, the pedophile stuff, sure, but like, you know, the stuff Jeff said, the killing all the game, those were my findings as well in my Cherokee research.
I can't believe Jeff, he had that in his pocket, and he was so upstaged by the pedophile thing. He's like, and it has mind control powers, and Trapper is just like, we're still on the pedophile thing, Jeff. Let's hold on. We got to deal with this one first. Now, to be generous, I think Buck maybe. No, he didn't mean that. He could have meant like, oh, it's like she's like small. She's like a little woman or something. But for sure, as this episode goes on, it becomes very clear that they took that and ran with it, and she is now a child. Like,
yeah,
this is
and has been for several hundred years.
Yes. Is she immortal? Is she a ghost? It is never entirely clear. Now, Buck says this one's famous. He's a famous Bigfoot pedophile. He's a celebrity. He's on cartoons. That's what it is. He's on cartoons. He's in video games. This is often used, not the mind control pedophile stuff, but he is often used in folklore and in pop culture. And Huckleberry turns to him and agrees with him. And because one of our Bigfeets fans, one of our fans, is actually keeping track, a running tally of how many jokes we make where we imply the Ames crew is fucking each other, and I'm leading by a lot. That's the end of the scene. Nothing else happens.
I'll take this one. That's not the end of the scene. Huckleberry claims that Jeff has a Sulkaloo tattoo on his ass, and Trapper yes-ands that by saying, when'd you see Jeff's ass? So then Huckleberry says they're roommates, and I wrote the quote down. He says, him doing yoga ain't bad, but damn it, he does it in the nude. So then they yes-and this to a full pregnancy, because Jeff is like, the other night I did my standing crane. He had to go to the bathroom and throw up. So... And then it says in my notes that Huckleberry says it was like a wounded pigeon. I wasn't quite sure what he was talking about. I guess he means the back of his dick and balls. So I'll put my dollar in the gay sex jar, whatever we're doing here. I'm not going to not let that get described.
Okay. Thank you for taking that hit for me. Let's even this tally out this episode. I'm not taking any more hits. And there's a lot of fucking hits coming here. So it's time to end that fun, good time we had very abruptly when Trapper just goes, it's time to face off against the devil. Like, we went right from Jeff's wounded pigeon penis to we have to fight the devil. It's a wild mood change. We're going to meet the first witness, and somebody really has to teach the boys, or the cinematographer, the editor, something about like narrative follow through, because if you scream let's face off against the devil and then you cut to a woman like standing lost in the woods, either she's facing off against the devil or she is the devil. Like, you said this is what I'm going to do, so that has to be what you're doing.
I put in my notes that I bet Jason loved this reveal of the witness.
For one thing, I will never, ever tire of the person just standing in the middle of a field to meet with the team. That's funnier to me. This is episode 27. It's funnier to me every time I see it. And there's the next episode is one even funnier than that. But also, they're going to struggle a little bit maintaining the right tone in this episode. We'll get to it, where they will alternate between weeping tragedy and then like some sort of slapstick goofy thing. But here, one of very few female witnesses. This is Liz. And they've thrown a camo hat on her, but otherwise it's a woman they know, I guess.
Yeah, she's a furniture maker. Liz the furniture maker. She made...
I'm going to say the obvious. I don't think you should meet with 4 strange men deep in the unmarked woods.
That's where she lives. What do you want her to do?
Okay.
And she lives her whole life there. She was just looking around at the trees, just, oh, nature. Oh, it's...
They're specifically not horny, too. Like, they get out and the first thing Trapper says is, like, I don't even wear my long underwear. But he says it in a way where he's like, we're talking about underwear now. And then Buck says he usually don't wear any underwear and then leers at her. And
they've just met this woman.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
In
you
the
should
fiction
run.
of the show, they don't know her. And these are the first words out of their mouth. There's 4 very large men meeting her in the middle of nowhere. And they do this long bit because Buck then decides that, oh, this is really killing. Let's keep it going. And then does things like, well, I was hoping that after this is over, I could convince everybody to go down to the beach. And Huckleberry brought his Speedo. When he wears that, it looks like he's hiding a squirrel down there.
Let's talk more about his cock.
2 big hickory nuts. And then Huckleberry laughs so hard that he falls down. And this woman
it's
is
textbook
just
game. Huckleberry's a good wingman.
The 1/4 of this scenario went viral as a meme for how dangerous this is. You met 4 of the memes at once at the same time, and they're all talking about their cocks. Just this lady, she's got an excuse because she is still freshly Bigfoot brain damaged. So she doesn't. Her instincts are suppressed. She explains she came down in the afternoon and got to this very spot. She points at a tree. She says, "I saw the shadow of the Bigfoot, Sulkaloo, and he was staring through her with his eyes. And then 4 hours later, and 7 miles away, she came to walking on the interstate, and that's Bigfoot hypnosis." Dun, dun,
Okay.
dun.
Now, let's circle back to the fact that this is a woman who says she was rendered unconscious by an entity that we have already established, according to legend, is at the very least a heterosexual male that married a child. And here's a woman who was mind controlled of it and lost 4 hours of her time. You would not assume that the Bigfoot hypnotized you just to have you wander around aimlessly for 4 hours. You would assume that it had hypnotized you for a reason, and that the reason, like best case scenario, is that it made you go hunting for it, like that monster in the animated show Scavenger's Reign, if you've not seen it on Max. That's the best possible thing that could happen, because
That's
I've read
based on this episode of Mountain Monsters.
I've read some Bigfoot fanfic out there. There's actually a lot of it on Wattpad, places like that. And when a woman encounters a Bigfoot in the woods when she's camping, usually it goes to a certain place that you've already anticipated by the tags on the story that it's told you, like, this has non-consensual.
Bigfoot pedophilia.
Shit.
That's a familiar tag.
So this is a traumatized woman, and in retrospect, maybe shouldn't have opened the conversation talking about Huckleberry's giant hairy cock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's maybe a little inappropriate. After she gets done telling her very touching, very like moving story of this terrible thing that has happened to her, Jeff nods and says, "Little mind control going on there."
That was going to be my quote of the episode. That little mind control going on there.
My goodness. What else are we talking about? What kind of underpants you wear, Liz?
And of course, nobody there speculates that maybe she had a seizure or a fever, or lots of things can cause you to lose your memory, or asking her if she had maybe ingested something or ate some mushrooms she found, or maybe any other symptoms. Did you go to the doctor? See if maybe you have a mass in your brain,
I was thinking pregnant, but yeah, that too.
I do love how of the 4 men that investigate, there's no Scully. Like, there's no skeptic at all.
They did a little nod to it
guess.
in the truck where Trapper, when they mentioned mind control, Trapper says, well, it sounds like
yeah.
folklore to me. You know, the
You're right.
pedophilia stuff, obviously that's true. And the fact that this thing is 500 years old and, you know, and all that. But
Hogzilla. Remember, Buck was the one who said, Hogzilla does not have small, crude, usable hands.
He does.
they're very random
Yeah.
about what they choose. Because, again, remember, this is not the first mind-controlling creature they've run into. I don't even think it's the second. There was the Mothman, and I thought at least one more, where when you, at the side of its eyes, it would render you, it would make you collapse or whatever.
All right.
But also, remember the rendering of the creature. I wish when Huckleberry walked up, if she had just pointed at him like, "Ah!"
God, that would have been so good.
If nothing else, because it's the same shape. Like, if nothing else, it should remind you of the thing that has happened. Or maybe, you know, we could just all dive tackle Huckleberry right there, and that could be their twist. So that there's been a Bigfoot amongst us all along, mind controlling it. Hold on. No, this makes perfect sense. He's the yardstick by which they measure all big feet. They're always like, put your foot in there. Wow, it's the same size as a Bigfoot. You're almost as big as a Bigfoot.
And they're like asking her, what? Now, describe him to us. And Huckleberry's like hiding he got like his hat pulled down over his face. Like,
No, come listen to this, Huckleberry. No, I'm good. So based on all we really know, based on Liz's story, is that the psychic stuff is true. That she's been mind controlled. That's for sure now. Pedophilia, never in doubt. Psychic stuff has been confirmed. And that this happened at 3:30 in the afternoon. So it's time to cut to our night investigation. That's literally the last thing. They're just like, all right, well, you saw in the afternoon. You got to come back here and do our night investigation. I would have loved to see her face just going like, excuse me. Are you leaving?
do it
Is that
now.
what you're doing?
You're all out here. This is the spot.
It was right here. It happened right here.
Just walk over there. Like, what are you doing? You've got all your stuff, right? Like, what?
Let's get this big guy to stand by there and see if the same... Oh my god.
They do find a Bigfoot dome instantly, of course. A honeysuckle dome, they said. It's perfect Bigfoot bed. It's right on Liz's farm. I don't know how she missed it.
When they mention the creature, Trapper says he can read our thoughts. Supposedly he can leap from mountain to mountain.
Yes.
Yeah. When did that come up? I watched this twice. I don't remember anybody saying that. And it's not going to be relevant. In fact, it renders their trap kind of ridiculous. And I do wonder, again, if he just improvised it and there's just no such thing as cutting lines from the show.
They literally mention it in context of the trap. They're like, he jumps from holler to holler, so we need to build a bridge. Like, almost in direct contradiction to the jumping ability.
Can we not skip over Bigfoot's adorable honeysuckle dome? Like, that is the friendliest place you could... There are hummingbirds that live there, surely. He's surrounded by bumblebees and butterflies at all times. Like, God, when we first watched this, I had no choice but to roll with like, yeah, Bigfoot must live in a honeysuckle dome. I don't fucking know. We didn't know anything. Now we've watched every goddamn episode of this show to get here. No, this is out of... No, Bigfoot does not live in a honeysuckle dome. What the fuck are you talking about? It's
they're going to
incredible.
do that thing where they're going to like poke their head into this tiny little... Again, this creature's 8 foot tall, 800 pounds. It's...
has a lot of
and they're going to be
secrets.
like... They'll hear like a rustling. It's like, I think he went out the other side. As if, again, they're hunting a rabbit or a squirrel.
Right.
An 800-pound thing cannot just like slip out the back of this little... And maybe the listeners are picturing a much, much bigger dome. When we say honeysuckle dome, it's just some leaves that's like shorter
Yeah, it's about
than
the size
person.
of a Bigfoot. Like, he could go in there and stand perfectly. It's like putting Huckleberry in a honeysuckle dome. My God.
Wait a minute.
It's like putting Huckleberry in a closet or something. Like, he fills the space. If he runs away, the dome is running away with him. Like, you're gonna watch that thing run away like a ghillie suit. I just love that they found it so fast, even for them. They're like, huh, well, look at here. And just immediately he's scampering away like, tee-hee, you found me. He's gonna grant you a wish or something. And all right, so somebody's gotta follow him. Buck looks at Huckleberry and says, "You want me to go up this hog's back?" And no, I'm not saying the rest of that. I'm not taking that hit. I gotta watch my words. So Buck climbs up the hill, and you know there's big drama coming when we make Buck climb something. It can never be for nothing, the sacrifice he had made. And Buck climbs up the hill, and they start yelling for him, and he is gone. He will not respond. It's not even like that thing they keep doing where Willie or somebody gets yanked off camera, and then they run 5 feet, and they're like, oh, here he is. Good luck. They finally got that note that, I don't know, maybe this should be tense for a little bit. Maybe they should build to something. And in their panic, Huckleberry genuinely trips over a large branch and eats shit onto his face. Like this, it looked like
with the shell in the chamber.
It's true. With his shotgun out.
He has cocked it. We've seen him do it. Because he's like, let's go get this devil.
That should be how he dies. That should just cut from that right to the dates in which he was born and died. And like some Sarah McLachlan music.
Like 6 Feet Under style.
just
gets
gone.
a title card.
Yep, that was it. I just love, we've said it before, but like genuinely, they are in so much danger just being out in the woods at night. Like they're 60-year-old men, they're out of shape, they don't know how to be in the woods. He's hurt himself really bad, like right, just pretending to chase Buck.
And now they did get the note that there should be stakes and you should like let it simmer, but I think they overdid it. Because when they find Buck in his Blair Witch trance, they're like, what the hell's wrong with him? And they do that bit for like 8 or 9 tries. It's, you dumb fucks, it's a Bigfoot trance. That's the only thing we've been talking about.
I know somebody on the crew watched Blair Witch for the first time. Like,
oh, yeah.
You can see the rest of this, not only the rest of this episode, again, I don't want to get too far ahead, but the rest of the series will now be inspired by Blair Witch. Like, we start pulling from that. They did not know about that before this episode, though. They just found that out. Now they're like, oh my God, we can do a Blair Witch. So Buck is Blair Witching thanks to Bigfoot hypnosis. Thanks to Witchfoot hypnosis
and
over here.
A little building with lights, with electric lights.
Let's be clear. I mean, we'll find out more about it later, but as somebody that grew up pretty rural, I know both of you did at times too. This is a pervert's whack shack out in the woods.
For sure.
That's 100%. This is where you find your woods pornography. There's no doubt as to what this could be used for.
I definitely think Buck found some pornography. I wanted to point out how bad the plan was, because they did send Buck off ahead. And I don't know what the idea was. I guess that way if something happens, it will only kill Buck. And then a Bigfoot mind attack happened, and it only got Buck, so success. But I don't understand what a better scenario could have been. I don't know.
If this had gone right, what was.
He's gonna chase it? Buck's the one that's gonna I mean, I guess it's not Huckleberry, we've proven that. But still, I mean, we're running short. We're running short on chasers out here. Buck says, I don't know why this cracks me up. Buck says, he told me not to move.
With kind of a little smile?
The idea of Bigfoot telling you something, and then you're just like, I should listen. He's really big.
And they say, who? And he says, him. And then he yells, he's telling me to come out. And then he runs out of the shack and into the distance over the horizon. And it is the funniest thing I've seen in my entire life.
So generous. He runs 8 feet into the woods before falling of natural causes.
Yeah, I had 4 in my notes.
He barely clears the threshold of that door before he's stumbling.
Running's a strong word, too. He kind of flails a bit. It's a weird way to interpret if Bigfoot says come out and you go, and just eat shit on your face. It's a weird way to execute that order.
Bigfoot would be like, whoa, I didn't mean like that, like right now. It's fine. You can
No.
You can slow it down.
I didn't mean come out as a clown.
I do agree that it's probably... No, I think it's certainly the fastest and for the longest distance we've ever seen Buck move on camera.
Oh, yeah.
So there was stakes, like, oh shit, this is real. He ran 8 feet before giving up. And I think Jeff tries to take the Huckleberry stinger. Huckleberry always shoots for that one-liner he's gonna get. Jeff pauses and says, there's evil in these woods right here.
These goddamn woods.
After the spinning clown flail, this is the face of evil. This is the face of the devil. So they all have to pile onto Buck to keep him from escaping under Bigfoot's influence. I guess running to Bigfoot. I'm not sure what he's doing. what the plan was here. I just love that canonically, Buck is now the weakest mind of the Ames crew. Because
Right.
he's been the first to, I don't remember who got hypnotized in the third one, but I know he was the first to get hypnotized in Mothman. So Mothman took over his brain, nobody else's brain. It was just Buck. They were like, Buck, you're coming with Mothman. He's like, okay. And then he encounters the psychic pedophile Bigfoot, and he's like, he told me not to move. I can't move. Like, he's the one falling for the Bigfoot Jedi mind tricks regardless. And I just like that we've established there's a weak link to the team, and it's Buck.
He really is going through something, though, because after they hold him down, he's like, there's something out here. And he just starts to weep and puke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, again, this for the second time, even in universe, they probably should have said, we're going to take you to the hospital in case this is you having a hallucination due to a fever or high blood pressure or the million other things, because the nausea and the disorientation and the lightheadedness, like your hallucination could be one of your symptoms that's also making you throw up right now. And then if the doctors check him over and say, no, this is Bigfoot poisoning,
Right.
then we can proceed. But even in the fiction of the show, it feels like they should have gotten him checked out.
Classic Bigfoot poisoning. We see it all the time. It's either food poisoning or Bigfoot poisoning. It's no mystery.
They do take him home for a nap, which, it's close. That's close to the hospital. It's hard to imagine losing any harder than this. They lasted 4 minutes against this guy. They sent one guy off on his own. He lost some sort of a psychic battle as hard as you could lose.
I want to remind you, we do have another Bigfoot victim here who lasted 4 hours with apparently no ill effects. Liz tanked 4 hours of this Bigfoot damage and ran 7 miles under his Bigfoot influence, and it was like, I just woke up on the end, didn't mention a single other symptom. Buck's like, if you're throwing up, I think it's from running up the hill. I think.
But Buck seriously has 0 in every stat. It's incredible. I've never
It's
seen
incredible
anything
they
like
gave him 0 in psychic resistance.
it. Right.
Least you could give the guy. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, he at least has like a 2 or 3 in like urine retention, whereas Jeff has a 0 for sure.
He might have a -10 in exposition. Like, he made up a pedophile Cherokee bride.
Yeah, he's testing. That's another thing. As we watch more of these, I really get like he has been testing the limits of how much he can do and how much he can push the improv. This is the first time I've seen it go really catastrophically wrong, where they're like, fucking now we're stuck. We got to talk to Buck about reining this shit in, because now we're stuck doing 2 hours, doing our season finale 2 hours about a Bigfoot pedophile. Buck, I think we need to rein it in a little bit.
The tone of the show, like they leave off not knowing if, for all they know, this is fatal. Like Buck is very sick. It's very sad. They've been defeated. They've got to go back home and regroup. And then just cuts to the next day, the trap team, and we hear Wild Bill say, they got some impressive trees down here in the Carolinas, don't they?
Tonal whiplash on this episode is insane. Like, they're just hooting and hollering and have a good time. We're going right off of like extreme tragedy and danger. I'll give him this. He's acting. He's doing some acting. He was actually like trying to cry, sort of crying, looking like he's throwing up. Like, he's doing a passable job at this. And he has never really attempted that before. And we are cutting right from like Buck's Oscar moment to Wild Bill going, hoo-ha! Look at them trees. That's nothing. Why even do that?
I like, because the show, the Act 1 is generally about information gathering, so they can come to the trap builders and say, here's what we know, make a trap for this guy. And so they now know from the psychic hypnosis attack that the Cherokee Devil can leap from holler to holler. And so they design a trap to fight a super leaper, which is a bridge with a breakaway bridge trap.
Because he has the ability. They said, I love what Willie does with, Willie says, just so confidently, sometimes he says this. He did this in the Mothman episode too. He looks straight at the camera and he's like, Mothman can't teleport through electricity. You're like, fucking, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. And then when they just run with it, he decides to do that again here. He just says, now we know Bigfoot jumps from mountain to mountain. I don't think we know that. I know Trapper said that briefly. And he's like, but I figure what he really does was jump one gully to the next. So I'm going to go off of that. And then the implication is, I'm not going to build like a thing for him to fall into when he lands. I'm going to build a bridge because the implication is that he hates doing that. He wishes he didn't have to. He would love a nice footpath.
Take a day off from jumping.
Now, he does have another scale model of this trap.
Oh, it's so cute.
The model is a little sad, to be frank.
It seemed like they're trying to cut around it. Like, maybe not give too much screen time to the model.
But it seemed like he was so proud of it. It's totally the drawing that, like, you want to encourage him. You don't want to put it on the fridge. He's waiting. He's waiting by that fridge.
It's like a cardboard elementary school craft thing, to which Wild Bill looks at it and says, well, it's just like a giant mousetrap. No, I've never seen a mousetrap of that design. That would be a Bigfoot-sized mousetrap with a giant bar that comes. That would be amazing. Build that. I would love to see that.
Even if what you have said was not completely insane, that's just like a giant mousetrap. Your mousetrap is a bridge they walk over and fall into a trap door because they're sick of jumping from counter to counter? Like, this is for a jumping creature, remember? I don't know. God damn it, it's so crazy. Everybody's so on their A game. Well, it's the season finale. It makes sense. So we go to meet our second witness. We've met him before. It's Buck. Buck is the second witness, and he's super sad in his little Forest golf cart in the pouring rain, like a Hillbilly Morrissey video, just reflecting on the loss he suffered.
I think when we talk about how different this episode is, it may not be clear to the listener because a lot of things that have happened before. They've had a guy get mind controlled before. They've had creatures that it was implied were some sort of weird pervert. They've embellished weird stuff onto existing folklore. The difference in this episode and in the next is they have added a bunch of acting scenes. Stuff that requires real acting, not acting like where you yell and shout, where is it? I think it's over there, blah, 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 or it's like kids playing in the woods. Emotional crying scenes where it's in the show where the Buck, also Huckleberry later, will have to act catatonic, act like they've been mind controlled, act like they are distraught and in despair, like emotional, like sitting down, having to get into the right headspace. When we looked up these men, I had said that Buck is the only member of the crew that has another credit on IMDb, where it's I think it's a true crime thing, and he was acting in a role in like one of the recreations or something like that. This looks to me like Buck trying to build an acting reel. Yeah. Like he decided he wanted to do real acting because in this episode and the next, he's going to do a lot of it. And this is the first time they've built the script around we need emotional, authentic, naturalistic acting out of one of us, aside from just yelling and pointing our guns at each other's heads. And it's really over the top. Like he's sitting there in tears in his golf cart. Now, does it look ridiculous? Yes. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. But it's like so overwrought, the tone is totally different.
Yeah, but he's playing it like the mind control was a sexual trauma. Like there's a real darkness to it. He has 0 in every stat, and that includes acting. So he's not selling it very well, but you can tell he's trying to pull from a real dark, terrible thing that's happened to him.
He says while crying, we keep saying crying. I don't know if people think we're joking. He's weeping real tears and describing how he's like, and it said, follow me. And everything about me wanted not to, but I had to. I had no control over what was going on. Like that word for word is like a Law and Order SVU scene from a witness.
Yep.
It's okay. It's not us reading into it because I wrote down almost the exact same words. This is a description of a terrible crime on a police procedural. Like it tossed me in a shack and it said, "Don't move." You know, like you're painting a very vivid picture of something I don't think you mean to paint here. Maybe you do. This is a pervert whack shack and he has a child bride. You're going to a weird fucking place in this episode, but. there's an implication here that's really wild for Buck to be selling, and he is selling the holy shit out of it like he's not sold anything on the show before. Like, it's really important to him to land this.
There's a turn in the middle I really like where he fakes like a self-awareness where he's like, I sound crazy. There was a little Indian girl. okay.
He's really trying to pass that drama final.
It's such emotional manipulation because he knows these guys have to listen to him because he's crying. Like they can't just cut him off at this point. Shut up about the little Indian girl, Buck. So it's just this is where he cements it into the narrative.
Yeah.
Like
this is like you could feel the resistance to like we could cut around this now. We can't cut around this. This is where it has to be truly embraced. Because then he says the little Indian girl grabbed his arm and said, "Nuavaha dohaya," I think is what he says. It's not really close to how you should say it. What I did was way farther. I'll give Buck credit that it's not an easy thing to do. However, I'm not the one that put that into my episode.
Sure.
I'll just put that out there. Anyway, the ghost of Bigfoot's child bride has grabbed him by the arm, and he pulls off his shirt to reveal on one arm, like, here are massive Bigfoot's evil claw marks where he grabbed me untenderly, and then on the other arm he pulls that up and there's a very faint little child, a distinctly child. So this is where we are like, no, this is not a little woman. This is a toddler's handprint on his arm here. And she was trying to guide him away very, very gently. And he says, he looked up the word she said, and it's Cherokee for peace. But like,
yeah.
Like
I imagine you've probably looked up like something in native languages, like indigenous languages. It's generally not as simple as mashing the syllables you heard a ghost whisper to you, like during a Bigfoot mind control attack. So if you hear a ghost say "ni waho yiwata," and you go, "Oh, let me Google that," you're not going to get any. There's like a lot of V's in that. If you look it up in the actual Cherokee, like you can't just spell what that sounds like. So it sort of betrays how he actually came up with this story. I'm suspicious that he might have looked up the word peace in English to Cherokee dictionary and then
read the
rather than a
English
ghost
translation.
tell it to him during a mind control attack. That's just my theory.
Well, but fortunately, it's not going to get any stupider than this when it comes to the usage of the language and how it factors into the plot. This is they'll quickly move on because they surely will. We'll see how silly this was. But what I like about this is, and of course now he's motivated to attack the Cherokee Devil, and they conclude that the Bigfoot has used his mind powers to like steer people away from something. Buck, who is extremely ill, says, all right, he's going back to bed. Why did they make him come out there? Why didn't they go to, because they're canonically staying in a hotel. Like when they travel, like they're in North Carolina, they're not home. So they canonically, they joke about it. Like, let's go back to the hotel and get nude.
And fuck.
So they could, if he's the sick, why didn't they just go talk to him at the Motel 6 or whatever? Why did you make him put on his outfit and drive in the golf cart out into the rain and meet into the middle of a field and
like a
make
sad
him act
R&B
as
video.
a witness? And then it's to him cry and tell you how his brain has just been, he feels so violated. And it's awful. It's like, all right, you guys go try to find him. And is driving his golf cart back to the hotel so we can lay down and maybe die.
I just like that he vows like, no, I'm on this hunt. I'm out for closure, which again implies something I don't think he wants. And then he's like, all right, I'm going to go sleep now. All right, you just vowed revenge. So, I mean, maybe stick around for a little bit.
Vengeance nap.
But no, he's going to take the day off. He'll come back later. Revenge will wait. Revenge can wait a little bit. So we come back to the trap shack. Willie and Wild Bill are looking for the perfect hopping spot for their psychic pedophile hopping Bigfoot. When they spot a trail, which is the perfect place to build a snare that will surely kill somebody probably. And I was right, it will kill somebody. It turns out it's them. It should have been them, because as Willie's chainsawing down a tree, and a widowmaker, a massive dead branch gets dislodged from very high up and comes just flying down like, I rewound that scene several times, it's a couple of feet from their heads. Like,
Yeah.
they call those Widowmakers for a reason. Like, that's a real thing. You will die from that.
They do not have hard hats on.
No.
They don't have any safety equipment. And
Like, we should be mourning their passing right now is what we
There's
should
a
be
scene
doing.
where they're like across the bridge from each other, and like one of them just throws a 4x4 across at the other guy, like an uncatchably large board spinning and flying at the other guy in a way that would have just, crushed his head if it hit him.
And it
didn't. But
and it's foreshadowing for their near-death experience. For they're getting their skulls. I can't believe all Wild Bill says in relation to that is he says, "There's a damn incoming round, horse's ass." And then they hard cut right away from that back to hijinks. Like, you should have gotten Buck's crying R&B scene in the golf cart. Like, you should be in shock right now because you just about died. You really just about died. We just about lost you. No fooling, no drama. That was... If Huckleberry's shotgun was loaded, that's how close you came.
to the point that I don't think they should have left that in the show. It makes them look irresponsible as a production. Like, this is where producer Colt's job, and yes, I'm calling him out, should have said, hey, this is real. Do you understand? Just because the camera is on, you can die. Like, this is not a fictional TV show. This stuff is all like that tree can kill you. Like, we are portraying you as being professionals at what you do. Like, the idea is that you actually have some skills here, and taking some sort of basic safety precaution should always be a part of it. That's why the gun stuff bothers me so much. I'm sure people are tired of hearing me bring it up, but it really does. And the chainsaw safety stuff. And again, Wild Bill's going to go scrambling up a tree in terrifying fashion, and then will stage a fall out of the tree or accidentally fall out of the tree. Either way, he lands flat on his back on the ground. He's not wearing pads or headgear or
so
anything.
much shit.
Yeah, this is, again, we watched this episode and we laughed at how badly he ate it. Having watched all of them, he's eaten it out of shit before. We make a running joke that he just falls. It's his job to fall out of trees, and it is. It is a huge part of his CV. He eats shit so much harder this time than he ever has. Like, he climbs very, very high, very fast. In fact, he has to stop halfway up and go, "I gotta find a cramp," and then we kind of cut away and cut back to him up the tree. So it didn't work for him great. But then he rappels out of the tree without grabbing onto the rope to slow it at all, and just lands on his back and tries to walk it off. But it's clear that he did at least knock the wind out of himself a little bit by the way he's talking. Like, nothing this Marine can't handle. Jesus. Anyway, so they're building the bridge.
Yeah, and the bridge, the surface of the bridge is made out of those rustic planks.
The Pargin planks.
Take
Made
a
out of the
drink
Pargin
if you
planks.
were waiting for. You can actually see when it's nailing them down, like the old nail holes from the 7 or 8 other times they've used those planks.
I just love that we have to say, "Take a drink, we got planks!" Oh, shit. Then people playing at home are like, "Oh, planks! Oh, shit, I'm gonna get too drunk. I can't deal with all the planks." So, they're gonna build this hopping bridge for a tired Bigfoot who just doesn't want to jump anymore. So we're back to do our day investigation, which is kind of our new thing that we do instead of a second witness. Trapper, Hunter, and Jeff are back searching for Bigfoot's illegal pornography or whatever he's hiding in that shack. Jeff thinks Bigfoot planted Buck there the other night as like a hillbilly honeypot to lure them away from what he was really hiding, which was somewhere else.
I love this so much.
It's so good. What they firmly and undeniably say right here, see this shack? This is the decoy. This is not important. This shack here will never come up again. This shack was just to distract us from the real shit, which is over here, just a nameless point in the woods, 12 feet away.
He could have picked 359 different directions. What if it's... I think he's keeping us from something there. They're like...
From something 12 feet away, just in the middle of the trees. Like, you could see it from there. If he was keeping you from something, you didn't have to walk over to that spot. You could see it from where you are.
Huckleberry's going to start not feeling right, and then he's going to fall down and go rolling down a hill, which is our 4th major fall in this episode.
Two of them from Huckleberry.
At the start of this episode, the sizzle reel was just a series of them falling down over and over again. We didn't mention it, but it is great. It's like, Huckleberry, he's rolling down the hill. It's just,
You said you thought this whole thing, this whole 2-episode series was like Buck wants to build an acting reel. I think Huckleberry wanted to build a stunt reel.
Yeah,
I think this was his Jackie Chan reel. He's like, because we lean heavy on the Huck stunts. There's a lot of a real overweight, real old man taking bad falls that he should not.
I think what bugged me about this scene is Huckleberry's like, I don't feel right. And nobody considers it might be a Bigfoot psychic attack. Like, it just doesn't enter anyone's head that, oh, well, yeah, that's what we're dealing with. I don't know. It's frustrating for me because, like, it just happened to Buck. Well, yeah, that's what we're dealing with. It happened to each of them. Also, if it is, what could they do anyway? I mean, I guess they just keep visiting this shed until everyone's hospitalized from hypnosis, hangover, and ghost grabs. I just don't get what we're doing.
Sometimes in a movie, you can tell that a stunt is coming up because you'll notice if there's the henchman's wearing like a suit. If they bend their arm, you'll detect the elbow pad in there. If you look real close in action movie, sometimes you'll see their knee pads. If they walk, it's like, oh, this is about to be a fight. They're going to throw this guy downstairs, something like that. You do not see that on the Mountain Monsters crew. No. Huckleberry went and flung himself down a hill. There's no, you can pause that all you want. They did not gear him up with some stuff to protect some protection. It's just him raw dogging it right down that hill on top of those branches, rocks, whatever's down there. Every fall is like that.
I can prove the one he does later. There are no pads.
Okay, we're going to get to that. You can tell what kind of episode it is because we keep wanting to skip ahead.
It's called foreshadowing. I learned it from Mountain Monsters. I learned it from this episode, this narrative technique.
So Jeff goes to try to wake him up, and Huckleberry attacks him, screaming. Again, acting. He is doing an acting thing because he wants in on this. It's like, well, if this is a real honest-to-God fictional TV show, then I can do, I'm freaking Huckleberry. And then Trapper, after they all have to get on top of him, Trapper says, it took 500 pounds of men to hold Huck down.
It's good. I like how Huckleberry wakes up shrieking and fighting like he woke up at the county lockup. Like he's just this tornado of violence.
Flashbacks to his chupacabra wife. That's just how he's so used to waking up to that, to shrieking and fighting off. She got out again! There's a moment, we kind of skipped over it, where Huckleberry's first pretending to have his Bigfoot hypnosis take over. And very unconcerned, Trapper looks to Jeff and says, Jeff, you get between him and me. You just, in case he attacks, you need to get in between there. Which seems very callous. And then Jeff moves over like he's going to do it. And then I think so Trapper can't hear. Jeff gently tells Huckleberry, you go ahead and you get in between us. So he doesn't listen. He sends him, they send the Bigfoot hypnotized Huckleberry after each other. There's no loyalty in this fucking crew. I love it.
If the listeners are wondering at what point they're going to connect, wait a second, this thing can mind control any of us at any time. Maybe we shouldn't all have shotguns. Because it could mind really control one of you into blowing holes into the rest of us. That's never even going to be discussed as, is this a concern?
Maybe we should leave them at least uncocked so one of us has some warning. No.
Yeah, or something. Because again, Huckleberry attacked him when they tried to wake him up. He in a rage. So if he had his shotgun locked and loaded, what would have been stopping him from just blowing Jeff's head across the forest?
This should have been the last episode about monsters. This should have been just them all dropping one by one. Anyway, Huckleberry comes out of it, well, not fully comes out of his trance, but comes out enough to speak, and he points real creepily, and he points over there, and they find a cigar store totem pole. And
That's not fair, what you just said right there. Okay, we want to talk about this. I remember when we did this episode originally as part of the Dog Zone, we discussed where did this totem pole come from? Because it's taller than they are. Because when Huckleberry has it later, it's maybe about 8 feet tall. It's a pole that is 14 inches in diameter. I believe at least one of them in the past had said he worked as a lineman. It looks like a piece of utility pole. And then the design carved into it, I've paused and looked at it. They drew a design on it with pencil, and then they used a router, like a square bit router, 1/4-inch bit, and just drew in some faces. Because last time we had speculated, did they buy this thing? I have looked around for totem poles to purchase. You can't buy one this crappy.
Okay. So I was
No
being
matter
unfair in
how-
the other direction. I was giving it too much credit.
No matter
Yeah,
how
absolutely.
little you spend, they always have like the winged part, something. They're a little bit more three-dimensional. They've got more shape to them. They're never just, no one is so shameless that they would try to sell a totem pole that looks like this. And also, can I point out that Cherokee did not use totem poles?
Amazing.
To which Jeff very robotically reads off, "Oh my god, a totem pole that describes everything going on in these woods. I've seen this before. This definitely leads back to Cherokee legend."
I love it so much. I didn't even know that what Jason said, that Cherokees didn't have totem poles. That makes it so much funnier. Jason said that Cherokees didn't show when they're like chasing a Bigfoot, and then someone will stop and be like, "My golly, look at this here footprint," and they'll forget all about the chase. And that's what happened here when Huckleberry just got mind controlled and thrown down a hill, and he wakes up in a full fist fight, and then Trapper says, "Jeff, come over here. Like, forget about our friend. You got to see this here totem pole."
He's still got his shotgun. Let's turn our back on him.
Yeah, let's at least take his shotgun away. But also, my favorite moment of this episode, which you're going to think I'm lying, it's only my favorite moment because I had seen this episode before. Like, obviously, Coming Up is an all-time great TV moment. But
Right.
Jeff, who again, in this universe, is their researcher. He's their Bigfoot academic. Jeff looks at the totem pole, decides it's cursed, and says, "We've got to get rid of this thing, put it back in there." And they start just cramming it back into the weeds. It's like you found a magical Bigfoot carved totem pole. This is the freaking holy grail in terms of like Bigfoot artifacts. You should be telling everybody, don't touch it. Let's wrap it up. Let's get it back to shelter so we can analyze it, we can study it, we can photograph it, we can, like, no, just cram it back in there. This thing's evil.
Yeah.
Shove it back in the brush.
They are talking about like, oh, it tells the story of everything going on in the woods, but it was a gremlin face, bird head, child's drawing of a sun, bird head again.
Of a sunset, very poorly
Right.
drawn. They struggled with drawing the little rays of the sun with the router, so they're very uneven.
The full history of the Cherokee people and their child marrying monsters. It's all there in the bird faces.
So they must have used the bird to signify child brides? Is that what they call?
that makes sense.
child bride? Because otherwise, no, that's not what's happening in these woods. So they do drag Huckleberry out of there. He's mumbling and droning in his Bigfoot trance. He says, "It don't matter, Jeff. He'll find you. He'll kill you." Like, the implication is so creepy because it means they're no match for this thing, but they've never been a match for anything they've ever faced. This is no different than anything that's ever happened.
They barely overcame what turned out to be 3 normal dogs.
Yeah, that almost didn't happen.
They almost lost to the Hogzilla that again turned out to be a normal pig from somebody's farm.
pig.
And they barely won that battle.
with a normal pig who was scared and confused about being rented by 4 hillbillies. So they're driving back in the truck, and Huckleberry's still muttering. He says, "I know who's gonna die." And Jeff does a really sad testimonial saying, "I've never seen my friend like this in 30 years. Like, yeah, man. In 30 years, he's never been possessed by a
never been.
pedophile Cherokee hopping Bigfoot monster. I believe you haven't seen that before. It's, this episode's
Trapper
so good.
says, in the course of this last minute, Trapper has said that he's going to fucking die out here. He's going to absolutely pursue this until he's dead. But then he also says, we may have to pull out of this one. This is not going so well. So a lot of mixed messages from the team here.
So they cut to the next day when they're going to meet with the trap team. And it's Jeff and Trapper. And then in the back seat is Huckleberry, still in his catatonic Bigfoot trance. But it's the next day. So he
They're just dragging him around. Just lugging him around.
took him back to his hotel room, to the Holiday Inn. He went to
Definitely
bed.
bathed him.
He got up, got dressed, waited for them to come pick him up. And he has like his hair like combed down in front of his face, like the girl from The Ring. And he's just like catatonic the whole time. And I'm just like picturing him like going to the hotel with like his ice bucket and getting ice and then taking it back to the room and like trying to figure out how to use the coffee maker in the room in the morning. He's just doing the whole thing in his Bigfoot trance the whole time because he's like unresponsive in the backseat of the truck. And Jeff's like, Trapper, he's been like this for an awful long time. It's like, yeah, it's been like 12 hours now.
I parked him in the corner of the motel room, hoping he'd just leave it off.
Like you guided him into the truck, like your elderly grandpa, like by the arm. Like how did he wind up at the back of the truck?
He's just gnashing his teeth. You're all gonna die. Yeah, good job. Well, we'll order. He's just naturous.
He's fine. He does this. It's a psychic pedophile. But you're from here. You know psychic pedophile, Bigfoot brain poisoning. He's just got a little. It's like Valley Fever. Sure. You got a little of that. So they have to go brief the trap team on how they are losing this fight without them. Like we're over here losing the fight, and you're not even involved yet. Trapper even says there's probably no way we're actually getting to use your trap the way things are going. And Willie looks genuinely annoyed, like with his hands on his hips, like. You're losing this fight. You pretend losing this fight like at night now? You can't even... Because he doesn't get many traps these days. Anyway,
Wild Bill yes-ands it, though. Wild Bill goes, that sounds like some scary stuff.
Yep. Woohoo! Scary stuff. Does not get the vibe at all.
Then they send Wild Bill and Willie up to they're like telling him, because again, it's Huckleberry did not come down there with them. It's because he's still catatonic from his Bigfoot mind violation. And they say, like, yeah, He's not good. You should go up there. Because if a guy is having a mental health crisis in the middle of the woods, Wild Bill's the guy you want to send to check him out.
I like the way they phrase it, too. They say, you should go look at him. Like, it's fucked up, man. You got to see that. You're never going to see this shit again. He's zonked. He's out of it. And they do. They go to gawk at him, but he has disappeared. The doors are open. Right. He is just left. He has vanished into the woods. And they're all just in a panic, like looking for him. They decide they need to call Buck in for backup for this search. And then as soon as they hang up, Trapper's like, we can't wait for Buck.
I don't say as soon. Like, after they get off the phone, the plan is to sit around and wait for Buck before they begin the search. It's very weird.
And he abandons that instantly.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. When Buck shows up, it's now pitch black. It's pitch dark outside.
Way later.
So, I thought it was like morning. They were beginning their day. So did Buck show up like 8 hours later? It's very weird. I don't know if this is something that went wrong in the edit.
You lose time in the Bigfoot hypnosis. It's the first thing. It's the first sign, they say, of pedophile Bigfoot hypnosis is you lose track of time. But no, he shows up what appears to be like 16 hours later. So they've made it like 20 feet into the woods ahead of him. He's never going to catch him. He rolls up to find they all left without him, and he has to ask the cameraman where everybody is, which was struck me as just a very funny, like, behind the scenes moment.
Is that a first for the show where they've actually turned to the cameraman and said, "Hey, did you see where they went?"
Yeah, that's the first Zach line. Zach gets a line. Zach gets a speaking line instead of just pure hatred you can feel radiating from behind the lens. You get to hear it in his voice this time. Yeah, they left. Yeah, they're gone. You're not important.
Jeff has a funny line here where he gets all tough and he says, even if they lead into hell, these footprints, we're going in there to get them back. Which, it's funny because these guys have already fled twice from less than 5 minutes of spooky silence, and now they're talking about charging into hell.
And have agreed privately before this to flee if things get any worse.
I like that canonically in the show, Huckleberry is like catatonic and now missing. So immediately Jeff is like, well, guess what? I'm the new Huckleberry. I've got the trailer line, which they did not put in the sizzle reel at the start, but he has if we have to march into hell to get him back, we will. Like, nah, that's not you. That's not you, Jeff. You're not Huck.
He's going to try binging some shit next. He's going to try them one-liners. He's got to find his place. He's like a kid entering junior high.
Walter Hell in 1784.
Now, Buck arrives at the shack and says, "Did you see that? It was that little Indian girl." I did not catch when we did the episode before that they did have a little girl in there.
Yeah, they had something
They
in there.
cast, well, it looked like a child in a dress, a little girl in a dress. So they cast somebody they knew, a crew member's child, they cast as the Bigfoot rape victim.
I was going to say, I don't believe anybody involved in this crew would say, sure, take my child into the woods, into that pervert shack for your Bigfoot pedophile sexual assault roleplay. Yes, please take my child to do that. That was a doll. It was like it had to be. Just for my own sanity.
I think it was a doll.
I need to believe that nobody let their actual child go do that. But there was, you're right, I missed it too. There was something there that they go back and they show. And that they will go back and like show it in slow motion so you can get a good glance at it.
It's crazy because there's no hope of catching the Cherokee Devil anymore. Like, they're seeing dolls in the window, but they're not like, we got to get that doll to lead. Like all they're trying to do is find their friend and not die. Buck wants closure. They don't even talk about the trap. They didn't even show how the trap worked. For all we know, it's an ordinary bridge.
Yeah, I realize now some listeners may be worried that for the trap, they're going to bait it with like a little girl thing. They're not going to do that. That would be terrible. If they put like a fake little girl in there.
Yep. Close. They came pretty close to doing exactly that. Buck has an awesome line here where he sees the little girl and then she vanishes. He goes, where'd she go? Where'd she go? She was right here. Where'd she go? Did you see her? It was that little Indian girl. It's a fucking ghost, you dumbass. And he just can't get over how the ghost vanished.
Cherokee Bigfoot child bride ghost. We've established.
Does he really think it's a 300-year-old little girl that exists and she can't run through a wall?
Oh, that's something we forgot to mention. Every time, it's a kind of a running joke that we laugh when we explain the show. We say, Bigfoot grabbed me. This is where that came from. Buck says, Bigfoot grabbed me. But also, we forget to mention that he also said, the Cherokee child bride's ghost grabbed me. So they both grabbed him. They've both just been a little rough with him. Grab him and just pulling him about. So Trapper's team comes around and they stumble across Buck just kind of hanging out in the woods again, maybe in a daze, maybe not. He's got that Bigfoot trance face. And they
just did like an abandoned beanbag in the woods.
Trapper says, this is the clue we need. There's something to that shed. That's what you arrived at.
19th goddamn trip to the shed.
Is there one location? I'm sorry, they have two locations. They have the bridge, and then they have that shack.
Trapper now believes there's something about that shed, which was also... There's nothing. The shed was a decoy. Remember, it's actually a spot 15 over there. No, they forgot about that. That will never be mentioned again. That the real important thing is 12 feet away in the woods. If that's true, they never found the real important thing. They forgot that existed, and Bigfoot's honeypot trap worked perfect. Bigfoot's over there going like,
so good.
Fuck yeah. Yes. Yes.
Buck's wrecked from... He can't get over how the ghost can leave. After you see the ghost, it can vanish. So he tries to tell the story, the most ordinary ghost in the history of Cherokee Bigfoot child brides. And he's like, my mind is overwhelmed. I don't know. I'm so pissed off. This blubbering idiot, this weeping baby cow. He once fought a swarm of pterodactyls. He once descended into the caverns of the cave creature of Greenbrier County. Now he's like, guys, I didn't know ancient spirits could vanish, man. It's got me really fucked up. I didn't know
He's been injured far worse by meaner Bigfeet than this.
He got hospitalized by a Bigfoot door.
He's not had to seek medical care yet. This is not up there in terms of the amount of damage he's taken from Bigfeet or from testing traps.
I don't think he was allowed in that cave. Just been thinking about it. I think they had to leave him behind.
I thought he I thought they had him on thermal. There's that figure that looked exactly like Buck that they had pretended was the cave monster.
They had him play the part of the cave monster, I believe. But we're okay. We've got to move on to what's about to happen here because everybody's waiting for this.
Okay, so they regroup and they go searching for Huckleberry, and they decide he must be at the Cherokee exposition pole where they carved their exposition in. Only it's gone. The Cherokee exposition pole has been removed, and they hear a distant Huckle scream and charge off towards the sound, and they come up a hill and find Huckleberry completely naked, covered in mud, totally deranged, holding the totem pole and like bent over like a witch, like Saturn eating his kids. He's just
We say totally nude, but he has sort of crafted rudimentary overalls out of the mud.
Out of mud.
They did a body paint thing. They painted his torso green and his legs and thighs and butt and a penis, I guess, brown. They did like a weird, it's body paint. Because canonically in the story, they said it's the way Trapper, I'll just use his exact words. Huckleberry standing up there, buck-ass naked, covered in mud, holding that damn totem pole. But he's not covered in mud. They've painted on like shorts and a halter top or something.
Yeah, they painted a little outfit.
Pause it.
Wrestling unitard,
Pause it
maybe.
and look at it. It's almost... They had a good time painting Huckleberry's nude body, and I know
That's
that
$1.
nobody broke during this scene is legitimately impressive to me. Because if we had shot this, if they had brought us to do like a guest appearance on, and then this was the plot, we would not keep straight faces while shooting that scene. I'm sorry. I know we are not the professional performers that they are. But they did not break down, that they did not have to do 75 takes before everybody could do it with a straight face is remarkable, and they deserve all the credit for that.
Imagine if they did it like Nicolas Cage's makeup and long legs, where they made a big deal of not showing them ahead of time, and then you went, okay, now you're gonna see Huckleberry for the first time, and that's the take we got of just them fucking cracking the shit. You would lose your shit so hard. I would love to see that. I think this is my favorite scene in Mountain Monsters, and we have to rewind to explain why. Because we come up over this hill and get this totally deranged Huckleberry in his little mud waders, his little mud lederhosen, all bent over like a weird old witch, completely naked, holding this crude totem pole, and they're all standing at him from across this sort of brief clearing. And they actually give it, God, you have to watch it to really get the timing. They actually give it a comedic beat. One moment of dead silence, and then Trapper just goes, get him. They all fucking run at him. I goddamn lost my mind.
Tackle him into the pond.
They fucking, like it's they Lord of the Rings charge Huckleberry and dive tackle him naked into a pond.
Yeah, and it washes the body paint off, and now they are just thrashing around a fully nude Huckleberry. Now, I don't know, in a professional TV or film shoot, they have a little sock they tie around your dong.
Yeah, the cock sock.
I don't know if this production had that, or if when they were tackling him, like repeatedly, they're just having his hogs slapping their hands and everything as they're wrestling around with this.
I don't think Huckleberry would have done it if he couldn't have free hogged it, as they say.
Colt Straub's a pro. He's like, Huckleberry, fuck this sock. And action.
And then, because the water brings him out of it, and the famous line, "Are you Huckleberry now?" He says, "I'm a wet Huckleberry." So they've established that cold water cures the Bigfoot's mind control. He then does an interview to camera, fully nude. He's not covered. He's just standing there, fully naked, talking about, he's explaining what's happening. They're going to cut back to the rest of the team and start doing their wrap-up stuff. And then they're going to cut back to him again to do a second fully nude interview to camera. They've not given him his overalls back. He's just standing there, just explaining what happened to him and just fully nude.
Which also means that nobody thought to use cold water or water of any kind on him when he was in his trance that whole time at the hotel. They brought him, it's been 24 hours and nobody thought to like shower him or splash some water on his face. Just never occurred to him. You've Bigfoot, you've discovered their weakness. They will never think to use water. So now they go through just a rapid fire. They all have to get the line in. Buck says, "Oh, we may be leaving tonight. We'll come back." And Huckleberry says, "We're coming back, guys." And Trapper says, "We're going home. We're going to lick our wounds. And then we're coming back, boys." I think they're coming back. Everything I have known about Mountain Monsters up to this point, I would have bet my life that they would never come back.
Yeah.
That this is the last time we would ever hear about it. But no, it is a 2-part episode. They've learned some degree of continuity over just this season. They have used this continuity. It's an
I was
incredible
legitimately
advancement.
shocked when I saw it was an actual sequel next. I was like, there's no fucking way they're doing this.
I wrote down, and it's still here in my notes, they're never coming back.
Yeah.
And then underneath it, oh my god, they came back.
I'm kind of glad they did, because it is probably their worst defeat. It was a traumatic, psychic, vaguely sexual assault for 2 of their members. They built a bridge from nowhere to nowhere. Several of them almost died from Bigfoot attacks and falling. They didn't get a footprint. I don't think they bothered to get the totem pole.
They didn't get any footage. That they do come back with a little epilogue where Buck gets to do a little bit more acting. Where he says,
"Oh God,
the rest of the team's coming back for the Cherokee Devil, but I've already found him. He's in my head, and now I don't know how to get rid of him." Cold water. Cold water does it. It's Huckleberry is 100% back. He's not haunted. He was doing interviews fully nude to the camera a moment ago. He's fine.
That's
did you
his
try
normal
that?
state.
you performed that so much better than him too. It was like it was his 5th or 6th take. Like he was just tired of the material. It was so phony and dramatic when he did it. I believed it when you said it.
I love that they forgot it was a decoy. They forgot where the important thing was that Bigfoot was trying to lure them. They forgot immediately that they found the solution to Bigfoot hypnosis, which is a minor spoiler for the episode to come, still going to come in handy, that knowledge, if you had like a little squirt gun or like a cat spray bottle, that when somebody gets Bigfoot hypnotized, you could be like, no. I'm sorry.
And also, do you know what was not in this episode? What may be gone forever? There was no even token effort at a pincer movement.
Oh,
and I don't think
right.
they're going to do a pincer next week either.
No.
I think we may be entering a post-pincer phase of this show, and I'm not sure I'm ready for that.
Yeah. I think they lost too hard to even try it. I think that they've advanced their losing technology so far that they no longer get to pretend to hunt the thing. Because it did not happen, and it does not happen in the next one. But that's for next week. That's for next time. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Now it's time for our favorite quote. Sean, how about you?
Okay, I like when he comes out of the water and they say, "Are you Huckleberry now?" And he says, "I'm a wet Huckleberry." That's great. But Wild Bill responds to that by saying, "Hell yeah!" So the full exchange is, "I'm a wet Huckleberry. Hell yeah!" And I'll put $1 in the jar. I don't care.
Yeah, there's no getting around that. My favorite was when they were going to take a look at him and were going to take a look at Huckleberry in the truck, and they were going up and they found all the doors open and he was gone, and they were all doing, it's one of those moments where everybody yells at the same time. So it's not like a line of dialogue is not going to make it into the show. It's just chatter. We're like, oh my God. But I distinctly heard Trapper say, "How did he get out of there?" Like he's got a Huckle-proof locks inside his truck. How did he get out? All right, Jason, what's yours?
We called it out earlier, but when they're doing their tree trimming shenanigans in the woods and a branch almost kills both Wild Bill and Willie, Wild Bill says, "That was a damn incoming round. Horse's ass." And I like it because he says ass exactly the way the ass-to-ass guy says it in Requiem for a Dream.
I just love to think that because that branch came down in 2 parts, that could well have been his last words. They would have had to have inscribed that on his tombstone. Horse's ass!
Now, finally, before we cut out to the ending theme, a lot of listeners saying, hold on. They said 3 or 4 times that the Bigfoot, when it possessed Huckleberry, predicted that one of them was going to die. Trapper said it to the trap team. He says, one of us is going to die. So you're probably disappointed that in this episode, they didn't tackle like that one of them has been marked for death. And that's the thing. It's like, which specific member of the team has been marked for death by the Bigfoot? Will they resolve that next week? We'll see. Maybe. You don't know. Oh,
good.
Only by tuning in can you find it. Will they totally forget that?
They didn't specify a time frame.
That's right.
I bet it's Liz.
Liz died off camera.
Because you had the